monster, or necessary force. Loki's true role is stranger than you think. From the moment Loki appeared in the halls of Asgard, whispers followed him wherever he went, some calling him a trickster, others calling him a savior, and yet almost everyone agreeing that he was unlike any god they had ever known. For while Odin represented wisdom and authority, Thor strength and bravery, and Freya beauty and fertility, Loki embodied the unpredictable, the chaotic, and the inexplicable forces that could either save the gods or doom them entirely. And it is this duality that makes him one of the most fascinating and most misunderstood figures in Norse mythology, for his actions cannot be judged through a single lens, and every story of him carries both destruction and revelation, both trickery and unintended wisdom, and it is this delicate balance that we must explore if we are to understand whether Loki was evil or whether he was a necessary chaos that the gods themselves could not exist without.
Unveil the legends.
There are stories of Loki where his cunning and mischievous nature pushed the gods into situations of fear, loss, and near catastrophe, perhaps the most infamous being the tragic death of Baldr, the most beloved of the gods, whose beauty, kindness, and invulnerability to almost everything had made him untouchable and adored by all. Yet it was Loki, the clever trickster, who discovered the one weakness in Baldr's defenses, the seemingly harmless mistletoe, and through a deceitful plan guided by hidden motives, orchestrated Baldr's death, plunging Asgard into mourning, grief, and terror, and setting in motion events that the gods could neither fully prevent nor undo. And it is in acts like these that many see Loki as pure evil, for he was willing to manipulate, deceive, and betray even those closest to him, and his schemes often left a trail of destruction that no one could contain, from Fenrir's monstrous growth, threatening the very walls of Asgard, to the fiery chaos of Ragnarok, where his leadership of the giants and forces of destruction ultimately brought the gods to their knees. And it is undeniable that Loki's capacity for harm was extraordinary, and in these moments there seems to be no justification, no higher purpose, only cunning, malice, and a love for the dramatic reversal of fortune, leaving mortals and immortals alike to question if the gods themselves could ever trust him. And yet, to see Loki solely as an agent of evil would be to ignore the many stories in which his cunning, while dangerous, produced solutions that the gods themselves could not have conceived, as when the walls of Asgard were threatened by the giant builder who demanded impossible payment for the construction. It was Loki who, through deception and transformation, turned a desperate situation into a remarkable outcome, ensuring that the gods retained their home while also introducing Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse, into the world, a creature of unparalleled speed and mystery that would later serve Odin in his travels across the 9 realms. Similarly, when Sif, Thor's beloved, had her golden hair cut by Loki in a reckless prank, it was Loki's ingenuity in recruiting the dwarves that not only restored her hair, but also gave the gods treasures beyond imagination, including Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, and other magical artifacts that became essential to the survival and glory of Asgard, and even the seemingly chaotic birth of Loki's children, Fenrir, Jormungandr, and Hel, though terrifying, played a crucial role in the cosmic balance, for without these forces of challenge and danger, the stories of bravery, wisdom, and resilience among gods and humans alike would lose their meaning. And in this light, Loki's actions, while unpredictable and sometimes horrific, also created opportunities for growth, innovation, and the preservation of divine order, suggesting that his chaos was not always malevolent, but a tool to challenge the complacency of even the mightiest beings. Loki, as the archetypal trickster, exists in a space that defies simple moral categorization, for tricksters in mythology are rarely purely good or purely evil. They operate outside conventional rules, pushing societies and gods to confront limitations, contradictions, and vulnerabilities that otherwise would remain hidden. And in every tale of Loki, from his clever manipulations to his most destructive schemes, there is a consistent pattern. He introduces tension, uncertainty, and moral dilemmas that force action, decision, and consequence. And this role is essential to the narrative fabric of Norse mythology, because without the chaos he provides, without the disruptions that provoke fear, cunning, and creativity, the stories of heroism, loyalty, and cosmic justice would lack meaning. And when one examines Loki's interventions, it becomes clear that he serves as both a mirror and a catalyst, revealing not only the weaknesses of the gods but also their capacity to respond, adapt, and endure. And it is precisely this duality, the ability to destroy and to inadvertently create, to harm and to heal, to betray and to illuminate, that positions Loki as a figure whose morality is inseparable from the context of the myths themselves, and whose actions challenge us to question whether chaos, unpredictability, and disruption are inherently evil, or if they are forces that the universe requires to maintain balance, growth, and meaning. So, as we reflect on the life and deeds of Loki, as we consider the death of Baldr, the binding, the tricks that almost destroyed Asgard, and the cunning solutions that saved it, we must confront a difficult truth. Loki cannot be neatly classified as evil or good, because his essence lies in the space between, in the gray areas where morality, necessity, and consequence intersect. And perhaps it is this very tension, this constant push and pull between creation and destruction, between harm and innovation, that makes Loki one of the most enduring and fascinating figures in all mythology. A god who embodies the idea that chaos is neither fully villainous nor fully virtuous, but is an essential force in the unfolding of stories, history, and the moral lessons we draw from them. And as we watch his tales unfold, we are invited not only to marvel at his cunning, but also to question the role of chaos in our own lives, to consider the moments when disruption might lead to growth, when rebellion might spark change, and when the forces we fear the most may be the very ones we need. And so the question remains for every viewer who dares to ponder the riddles of the gods. Was Loki evil, or was he a necessary chaos? A force whose presence, no matter how frightening, ensured that the universe did not stagnate, that stories remained alive, and that even gods learned the limits of power, trust, and the consequences of inaction, leaving us with one final thought that echoes through the halls of Asgard and across the 9 realms. Perhaps in chaos there is a strange kind of order, and in the most feared trickster, a reluctant teacher, and perhaps, just perhaps, Loki's true role was never to be good or evil, but to remind us that the world is never simple, that the lines between right and wrong are often blurred, and that in the end, understanding him may mean understanding the delicate balance between destruction and creation itself. If you think Loki was just a villain, think again. Perhaps the god of chaos was exactly what the cosmos needed. And maybe in some way we all carry a little bit of Loki within us.